I was just fumbling through all these stacks of incredible news, just trying to think, what is the top story? What is most important? And I really come to the same conclusion every time I have that thought. It's the entire mass of news together that really shows us how truly insane society and civilization is going. Here's one thing. I thought it was pretty incredible yesterday when we broke the story with the video from McAllen, Texas on the Mexican border, that the head of emergency management said that over 90% of the illegals that show up bust in by the Border Patrol to McAllen to be staged at churches, already have tickets provided to them to go wherever they want in the United States, quote, in the interior, and that nothing is being done. They're just being paid to get into the U.S. when they could take them in a bus and drive them back over and throw them back into Mexico. They don't even do that. They drive them into the U.S., and that video is up on Infowars.com. No one picked it up. No one covered it. As of my search about an hour before broadcast time today, and then I had missed it in the stack as I was going through it, caught red-handed, Border Patrol paying to ship illegals deeper into the U.S. The Daily Mail, that I know follows Infowars.com closely, and they actually give us credit a lot of times. I got to give them credit. Every week or so, they give us credit for stories we've broken. I was reading through this one and didn't see us credited, but they broke this yesterday evening. We broke this really in the evening before yesterday, but I broke it big time here on the air. And I'm not into who breaks things first. It's just I'm trying to get this story out. So it's interesting to track it and learn how the media works. Hundreds of illegal immigrant children are being handed to relatives who are in the U.S. illegally too. Well, yeah, that's what the DREAM Act does. As HHS admits, it makes no effort to find out their immigration status. Now, when they say handed to, you mean paid to get to, whether it's Chicago, Illinois, or Austin, Texas, whether it's Seattle, Washington, or Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota. So at least the Daily Mail covered it, and they made some phone calls and talked to Health and Human Services people who admitted that's going on. They don't even try to check that they have, quote, verified sponsors. It's just you get here, you're legal, the government's going to pay for it, and then you're going to get put on welfare as soon as you get to the, quote, illegal immigrant family, and then they bring in the next wave. I mean, this is mind-boggling, and folks, when you look at who's coming here, it is the poorest of the slums of Mexico, of Guatemala, of Nicaragua, El Salvador, Paraguay, Uruguay, Honduras, Belize, the Caribbean nations. By the way, the Caribbean, you can look this up, has descended into total bedlam the last few years. Most areas are just war zones now. The Bahamas is the most dangerous place other than Mexico. People still go there constantly. But the issue here is that the United States in these pockets, areas of Arizona, you name it, are becoming lawless as well. And you look at the truly poor, destitute people with no education. I mean, they're going to be wards of the state for generations now. You think government's taking the black community and wrecked people. My God, they're going to have a heyday with the poorest people of Latin America who will never work another day in their lives now. They're going directly on the Democratic Party's mammary gland, which is your money. The InfoWars crew absolutely loves coffee because we love being awake. And I am somewhat of a connoisseur of coffee. So many times you go to a restaurant or even to a coffee shop and the coffee tastes like garbage. And in all the different coffees I've tried, my favorite is grown in the high mountains, in shade, Arabica, on the border with Guatemala in southern Mexico by the Chiapas farmers. I make sure we've done the research. I make sure it's the very best product that we can offer you when I put my name on it. And I believe, and it's my taste, so you may differ, that this is the best coffee in the world from southern Mexico. Wake Up America Patriot Blend, 100% organic, Arabica shade grown. And then we have the Immune Support, 100% organic coffee, infused with a special type of mushroom known to boost the immunity.
This coffee is seriously so smooth. I normally have to douse my coffee with cream and sugar and cinnamon and all kinds of tasty treats, but this, I drink this black. It is so good.
Well, that's why I like it, is that it has a kick, it has really good caffeine in it, it has a good clean wake up that lasts for a long time, doesn't give me a headache, but it's so smooth, it's so delicious. Just try it out for yourself. I'm telling you, this is my favorite coffee. We went through a lot of trouble to bring you this. Just try it, and I think you'll be hooked like we are here at InfoWars. Well, folks, find out for yourself and support the information war today. It's all available at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. The U.S. military officially throughout the Pentagon, and the letters are flooding us by the hundreds with photocopies and digital photos that the military personnel are taking for us, or snapping for us. We've been hit by a tsunami of documentation that at military terminals and computers across the world, Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com are being blocked. That's why we have Facebook, that's why we have Twitter, it's why we have YouTube and a bunch of other platforms, because it's a whack-a-mole type situation for years where we get censored at libraries, at colleges, you name it. We are listed as hate and violence as well as racism, and we're seeing censorship happen to InfoWars, not just on the internet, but concerted efforts that do absolutely nothing, by the way, of calling up our AM and FM affiliates with Democratic Party seminar callers. They're trained in seminars to call up and threaten them that they better take my show off the air. And several affiliates, I'm going to get some of them on as guests to talk about it, have just said, you know what, we have him on at night rebroadcast. We're just going to go ahead and put him on live. How's that sound? Because we listen to Alex and we know he's not preaching hate or racism or violence. The opposite, it's you people trying to destroy free speech in this country. And if you can shut Alex Jones off the air, you can shut everybody off the air. So we're getting a lot of new affiliates all over the United States right now. The system is upset by that, and they don't like it. And by the way, the biggest boost we ever got on the roadmap to InfoWars growing and reaching more and more people was when I put out Police State 2000 in 1999 and authorized folks to make copies of the VHS and the DVD. It was a bestseller for me at the time and allowed me to hire some crew members, build a better studio, and a lot of stuff. That film became a hit. That the Marines, who featured largely in the film, running checkpoints, preparing for urban warfare, gun confiscation, the Marines were upset by the fact that they were being trained for gun confiscation. They watched the film. It caused a huge debate, and the Marines were told in briefings all over the United States, came down from Clinton, it came down from the high brass, do not watch Alex Jones, do not listen to him. Well, most of them didn't know who I was, so it made that film a super hot, cause celeb documentary that was passed out on military bases. Then it became popular in the Army. They would run the Marines, run the Army, give them PT duty, write them up, you name it, chew them out. Some commanders would call them in and say, you know, I trust you guys. This is America. It's the First Amendment. We shouldn't be training to confiscate guns. I want you to watch this film. So their attempt to do that totally backfired. And that's what's happening here. And, you know, I saw some of the comments on Infowars.com by the hired paid trolls on record. It's on record. They have literally sock puppets is what they call them, these computer programs that a person loads in the responses, but then the sock puppets go out and auto post with bots to the comment sections. And they basically caused the Streisand effect before the Streisand effect was even known to exist in 2003. The Streisand effect is a phenomenon whereby an attempt to hide, remove, or censor a piece of information has the unintended consequence of publicizing the information more widely, facilitated by the internet. Usually facilitated. It's named after American entertainer Barbara Streisand, who attempted in 2003, 4 years after this happened to me, to suppress photographs of her residence in Malibu, California, inadvertently generating further publicity. Similar attempts have been made, for example, in cease and desist letters to suppress numbers, files, and websites. Instead of being suppressed, the information receives extensive publicity and media extensions, such as videos and spoof songs, often being widely mirrored across the internet or distributed on file-sharing networks. Now, the system is not stupid up at the top, but they have an authoritarian streak to want to just shut me up and shut you up. The problem is we're so prolific and we're on so many platforms growing under the censorship. See, when they would hack and attack one website or ban it, I would just start 4 or 5. Remember, I used to have all those other websites, Infowars.net still up, JonesReport.com. We don't really update. We're going to do something big with it soon. Because they were always hitting my sites and attacking them, every time we were attacked or censored, we would launch a new website. That was a primitive form of social network or a primitive form of distributing yourself. As the MySpace and Facebooks came along, we multi-distributed over to those. But we're going to launch more shopping carts. We're going to launch more websites. We're going to subscribe into more podcast services for you. Roku, Boxy, we're already on that for years. PrisonPlanet.tv is our own video, audio platform to fight censorship. Just like in studies, if a plant doesn't get wind, doesn't get rain, just gets barely watered, it's weak. But if it grows under rain and under sleet and under wind, if it survives, it's stronger. And that's the same thing happening here today. We expect to be attacked. We expect to then each time analyze what the establishment's doing and then grow stronger against that. To use an alien analogy, like the new movie that I think is pretty good and I should do a review of, Edge of Tomorrow, where the aliens that invade control time. And so they just continue to reset the day over and over again so that the humans can't defeat them. But as soon as the humans discover that, well, they start time traveling as well. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to give the plot completely away. But the globalists use supercomputers and their systems of control to not reset the day, but always relaunch. It's kind of like every major city votes down light rail, boondoggle scams 5, 10, 15 times. They just keep coming back till they finally get it. Or just do it without a vote. See, we win victories all the time, but then think, oh, I'm not going to go fight it again. The whole war is about realizing that you've got to continue to engage over and over and over and over again, and that's what makes you stronger each time. It's called the animating contest of liberty, a.k.a., to quote Thomas Jefferson. So you're not animated when you don't care about anybody or yourself or geopolitics or the world. You're one of these, statistically in studies, totally unhappy, self-centered, narcissistic bots that isn't even human, that just runs around regurgitating what mainstream media dumped into their head. I mean, we all know these people that are fad-driven. They literally aren't real people. They just regurgitate television, mainstream garbage. They're unsuccessful, pathetic people. No one wants to be around them, except other trendies who all just sit around insecurely bleeding like parrots. So you can go see the letters issued to the military, access denied, net war comm policy, Department of Defense, issued yesterday, Infowars.com banned, and you are not to visit it. Now, the only way this will work is if they censor us and others and no one comes to our aid and there isn't a Streisand effect, and then it sets the precedent, they'll start censoring everybody. So we hang together or we hang separate. But people are getting upset about this. Blue Coat, this is separate from Blue Coat, big billion-dollar private NSA tech firm that sells spy technology to companies, basically, to spy on their employees and others. They have limitedly removed us from most of the public databases, but still have us in the governmental databases. But this is separately a Pentagon directive that you can't get to Infowars.com. But the machines and the people that set this up are so lazy and so dumb, they haven't hit our mirror, prisonplanet.com. And the fact is, literally, no exaggeration. Let's not exaggerate. Tens of thousands of websites and blogs a day repost our articles. In fact, that's not even accurate. We have articles on Facebook alone that get reposted probably 50,000 times a day. So I guess it is hundreds of thousands of times a day. Each article gets redistributed. So we're kind of ahead of the curve from your enemy operations hitting us so long ago. We kind of already made the jumps and are at another level. And we know you'll get more sophisticated, but that's the whole point. We're aware of the attack. You're human just like us. We're human just like you, but we love liberty. Liberty's sexy. People want it. I want it. We're selling snow cones in hell. You're selling, Tabasco to be shot up people's noses. Nobody wants your tyranny. Okay? We're selling Marilyn Monroe. You're selling Janet Reno. Who do the guys want? Marilyn Monroe. Sexy. Amazing. Bedtime eyes. Whole 9 yards. What are you selling? A giant, child-molesting, ugly, goblin-like demon. I mentioned how we're being censored, and folks can try to argue, well, let the military censor, do experiments on the troops. They have no rights. Anybody that says that the military has no rights hasn't read the law, doesn't understand the precedent. They can't give you experimental drugs in the military without your consent. They can't order you to do it. They can't make you take experimental vaccines. They cannot keep you when you're off duty from being able to visit American news websites by listing them as terrorist. Okay? Just like public schools now, we have another article, are blocking NRA websites, Infowars.com, you name it, but letting you go to Democratic Party websites and communist websites. High school blocks access to conservative pro-gun, but not liberal websites, Infowars.com. This is the truest form of tyranny when they try to censor people like this. And if they're successful, it's all over. The good news is Gallup poll now shows the lowest approval rating ever recorded with a 7% approval rating. I've actually seen one as low as 6 in Gallup, but before the previous low they claim was 9. It's now a 7. He's absolutely ignoring the Constitution. Republican representative says there's probably enough votes in the House to impeach Obama. We're going to be breaking that down. Also, shock photos. Media gets disappointing look at Texas and Arizona illegal immigrant detention centers. We've been trying to get in, but finally the mainstream media has gotten in. AP, the establishment thought they would write a good whitewash. And if you go to the front page of drudgereport.com, which will punch up for TV viewers, you can see the people coming in with diseases, tuberculosis, measles, mumps, rubella, with leprosy. I mean, it is on. The absolute total dregs of collapsing Caribbean and Latin America are surging in right now. And we have breaking videos and exclusives up on Infowars.com chronicling that. The hard drives have been destroyed now. Congress was told that the emails had been deleted with Obama and the head of the IRS and the hundreds of meetings they were having. Now we learn when Congress said, fine, give us the hard drives to restore them. Oh, the hard drives were destroyed. Yes. I know nothing to quote Sergeant Schultz from Hogan's Heroes, but this is no slapstick comedy. IRS Lois Lerner emails likely gone forever. Issa says emails don't just disappear. Ladies and gentlemen, It's all saved by the NSA. And I talked about this years ago. Now it's happening. People are trying to subpoena NSA records to show that they were on the phone at this time or that they were at this place this time, and they're declaring national security. So even though these systems could prove you're innocent, it's only going to be used to frame you or set you up or track you or to predict the future of mass movements, to then game the entire system. It is not going to be used to empower humanity. Understand that. Pelosi says she's unconcerned about the missing emails. And the Wall Street Journal says the obvious. No, they didn't say the sky was blue. It's more obvious than that. They say it's worse than Watergate. Really? Really? You think it's worse than Watergate? It's about 1,000 times worse. The government shipped guns into Mexico to kill people to blame the Second Amendment. The government is funding al-Qaeda publicly worldwide. Let's look at some of the Infowars.com stories. I'm going to get into the really hardcore news when we come back. Gallup, again, I mentioned this Congress approval rating sinks to new historic low. Steve Watson, U.S. military blocks Infowars.com. Are you a dumbass or mad as hell? Very important video to help wake people up at Infowars.com. BLS, Americans on average sleep twice as many hours as they work. Google the new bank rollover Bitcoin and banks, its internet revolution. And the article I agree with says it isn't Bitcoin. It's going to be Google Wallet, folks, that dominates. But the age of digital currency is here. Look out for a global tax on it like Tobin. Megyn Kelly confronts Dick Cheney. History has proven you were wrong on Iraq. We're going to play that video. 25 shocking facts about the Earth's dwindling water resources. That's surface water, not deep earth water, but we're going to get into that.
You are watching the best of the Alex Jones Show, weekdays from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central. Watch live at Infowars.com/show or become a member of InfoWarsNews.com and help us take resistance to the next level.